Welcome back to the Haddonfield Horrors podcast, where we review horror movies and horror franchises. I'm Mark,
I'm Tawan.
And this is Alian.
and today we're reviewing Aliens, released in 1986, directed by James Cameron and story by James Cameron. Tuan, can you give the people the plot summary?
57 years after Ellen Ripley had close encounters with the reptilian alien creature from the first movie, she is called back, this time to help a group of highly trained colonial marines fight off against the sinister extraterrestrials. But this time, the aliens have taken over a space colony on moon LV 426. When the colonial marines are called upon to search the deserted space colony, they find out that they are up against more than what they bargained for.
Now, Aliens. This movie is always talked
Gas.
about. Huh?
Gas.
Yeah, gas, because this movie's always mentioned in one of those discussions where they talk about um the sequels being better than the original. You know,
Mhm.
when they talk about Godfather Part 2, when they talk about Terminator 2 Judgment Day, they also talk about Aliens. They're like, this is one of those sequels that surpasses the original, and I think it's justified. Um, right away, it shows you that it's different from the original one, where it was that first one was slow paced for
Yeah.
most of that movie, and then you got the action within the last like 30 minutes. This one is like action packed from the start, and it's so different. It doesn't feel claustrophobic. There's more characters this time. Yeah, they get picked off pretty fast, but there are more characters this time. And I don't know. I think they flipped, they changed expectations, especially with like the android and stuff like that. And then we're seeing more xenomorphs, and I don't think I think this deserves the praise that it gets. But what about you? What are your thoughts on Alien?
Like, I definitely agree with Mark. I believe I read somewhere, but it's also just from watching the films itself that after the first one, it became more of like a sci-fi action thriller over just horror itself. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but I want to talk more about it later on. But when it honestly comes to specific scenes, but I did feel more engaged in this film compared to the other ones. I felt like I was more connected with Ripley, or like a little bit more attached, just due to the fact that she was being, protective about, Rebecca, or Newt. And but I don't know. It could just be me, but I feel as if she took more action to help her crew, showing that she actually cares. Even after, like, losing her crew as well to the xenomorph.
Yeah, I really like this movie. This was my first time seeing this. I pretty much I had only seen the first Alien movie and like Prometheus onward. So I had only seen all of those ones, so I hadn't seen this one or like three, and I was very surprised. I'd always heard good things about this movie, um, but I don't know. I'm not sure I never watched it, but I'm glad I did. It was really good. Um, I definitely saw the differences in it. Compared to like the first one and how it was a bit more action oriented, but it still had those good like tension filled scenes, and they definitely like carried that like atmospheric feeling that you get with it, because um with that atmospheric feeling that you got from like the first one, in this one, because like they're on a like unknown area. Even though Ripley has told them, these creatures, or the xenomorphs are um like around, they don't know what to expect, like the colonial marines. So it was interesting to see like all these new people um like experience that. So that was good, and honestly, it was just good to see Ripley again. I'm glad they didn't like go a route where they did a sequel without her, because Sigourney Weaver was really good here. Um, she adds so much to it, and um, the rest of the cast was good as well. Like the Colonial Marines and all of them. Uh, especially the actor, even though I hated him, the actor that played Burke was really good because he played that role so well. Like I know we'll get into that more in the characters, but like he he played his role really well for how much I hated him throughout the course of this movie. Besides that, though, um, the improvements on the design of the aliens were or the xenomorphs were really good. Even though it had been some time, I think it was like 6 years at this point by the time this came out. Um, so they definitely like improved how they went about the way they looked and everything, and they still hold up really good in terms of the way that they look and like the practical effects and everything that were used to portray them. I think that came across really well here. Besides that, though, yeah, I think just generally I like the movie for the most part, and I didn't have
Yeah,
much going like bad going for it.
yeah. I have to say, overall, I do like that they expanded expanded the universe. You know,
Mm,
we know that there are now there's colonies out there, and that now we have an actual. Well, they all worked for Wayland. Um, what's the company called again? I
Wayland
forgot.
Utani.
I was thinking like electronics, and that's not what they're called. But yeah, they all work for Wayland Utani. So, but this time we have like an actual like company representative being
Yeah,
part of the story, and we get to see the shadiness and the sneaking around up
they were
front.
pissing me off.
He was, and like not only we're gonna get there because like they are aware of what happened with her and her crew. They're aware of the face huggers, but then you're going to study them, and you lost communication. Like the two people that when they had that board, we'll get there. But like, I just like that we got to see more of the company, and then they also addressed the crew who died aboard the Nostromo from the last movie. Like that,
Hmm.
all those things were addressed. But also, if you there are two different cuts of this movie. We watched the I don't know which cut. How did you watch this movie?
Through HBO Max.
Okay, then we watched the theatrical cut. There is a director's cut where we learned that um, Ripley's daughter has died. Like she died of old age, like literally a week before they found her and woke her up.
Mm,
But that's only in a director's cut. But if you play the any of the Alien video games, you
yeah, I
play
was
as
about to say that.
yeah, you play as that character who
Yeah,
gets like a
I
passing
play.
next. Yeah,
Yeah, I play Alien Isolation, and I remember it
I
was Ripley's daughter.
I love Isolation. It took me forever to beat, but I love that movie. But yeah, I just love how they expanded the universe and they gave us more detail and they went in more depth. But let's talk about some of the scenes that stood out. I guess we can mix in kills here too. The board meeting scene where Ripley's telling them, okay, no, this
Mm.
dangerous alien being is around and it killed the whole crew. And they're like, there's no evidence of this. Excuse me?
No, I fucking for real, like no evidence. Like it was just like in my thought, like like I'm just thinking, in my own headset where I'm like, you're going to these planets collecting resources, and the fact that they didn't take her seriously, that she would have actually seen something like a creature. Come on, like exploring all these planets and all these sections and all these sectors, you would think like there had to be alien life somewhere. You know what I mean? And obviously, they're hiding it from her, or like they're making like basically gaslighting her into believe that this never happened, and she's just thinking all to her head.
And I wish I could say this was the same fake, but I could see an
It's literally
actual like
not. That's the funny part.
corporations does this all the time. And speaking of corporations, when they were loading that big like tank truck onto the ship, I was like, is it me or does that look like that fucking Tesla, the Tesla truck?
Girl, bye, not the Cybertruck.
I'm like, is this where they got that design from? Because this looks a lot like that Tesla truck.
Not the fact that you said it, I can't even get it out of my head.
I also like the scene when we finally got to the colony, and you get like the quick glimpse of what the colony kind of looked like. It has like the little bar sign. You can see like structures. Okay, they were actually trying, like, for the most part, the colonists were trying to like they colonized. They're trying to be there,
Mhm.
establish a civilization. But when you get to the scene with all the face huggers, it's like, come on, bro. Like, at what the and I'm just mad it took so long for them to be like, okay, you have all these eggs, you have these face huggers. Who the fuck is laying the eggs for the face huggers to come to?
No, but for real, like, wasn't the queen under, like, the fucking base? Like, come on.
Like,
Exactly.
did the colonists not know of the alien queen? Like, I'm just like, I just didn't. It was just so many parts that was just like pissing me off, and I I love the scenes with Ripley and Bishop, the robot,
Mhm.
because like Ripley coming from that first movie and
Yeah.
knowing what that android did to her, I was expecting the same BS. But then seeing his character arc and seeing like how he changed, I'm like, oh, like he even saved Newt at the end.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, okay, these scenes are pretty good. These scenes were worth it, and I don't know. I just felt like every scene with Ripley kicking ass was amazing for me. Like Sigourney was kicking ass, and I'm so glad she came back to this movie because at this point, Sigourney didn't have to come back, you know. But
Mhm.
I'm glad that she did. I'm glad she didn't pull a Laurie Strode, Jamie Lee Curtis, and was just like immobilized for the majority of the movie. But what are
Yeah.
any scenes or kills that stood out for you?
It wasn't like a terrifying scene, but a scene that really, like, I was just like, ah, fuck. Like, I already knew what was gonna happen because, you know, of what happened before with Ripley's team, even if it's just one. It's just that when they were checking, like, to see the locations of the people, and they were all in, like, basically in down there in the layer, it was just literally all the aliens, because all of them became xenomorphs, or they were all just nothing but a what was it? They were nothing just but a capsule, or like something to hold on to them. I forgot what it is called, but basically they were. Oh my goodness, it's going to kill me if I don't know it. I think it's called Incubus. I think that's what it was. I could be wrong. Or just incubator in general. Like they just used the bodies were just an incubator, but they used everything in that body to be, you know, for the xenomorph to become, you know, the fucking thing.
One scene that I did like was the was the ending. Because I like how Ripley, as soon as she saw the airlock, she was like, "Yep, we doing that again because it worked last time," and immediately got that damn xenomorph the fuck out of here. She was just a badass the whole time. The whole time, like she was killing it. But yeah, that scene in particular when she hit that airlock, I was like, I mean, I had a little fear that she might have got swiped out too for a second, but I already knew, it was the third one, so I wasn't like thinking too much on it. But I was like, damn, like she did her thing with that one. One thing I will say though, in that whole little like final fight scene between her and the queen, like xenomorph, um, when she was like fighting it with the robot, it was it was kind of weird to me how there was just like no music or no score in the background of that fight. It sounded real barren.
That was an odd choice. I was like, why is this?
It
But
was yeah, it
who
sounded
decided
real
that this should be
barren.
done?
Because I would just kept hearing was the fucking like the mechanical like whirls from the damn
And
Like,
honestly, that fight scene looked pretty good.
yeah,
Like that looked pretty good. I'm pretty sure he got better with like his CGI and all that because this was like a couple years after the first Terminator, so I'm guessing he learned from those ending scenes of the Terminator when he was all like skeleton.
I think one scene that pissed me off where I was like, oh fuck, was when, basically the facehuggers escaped. But I was like thinking about it, I was like, before I already knew who, I think it was Bert, his name. He basically let them go because like Ripley said, he could not get those things through customs or anything like that. So it was just like the fact that he was gonna use Ripley and Newt as nothing but incubators or just like, to hold it, to basically implant them. It was just like, oh, you're fucking disgusting, and you have no idea how happy I was when he fucking died, because I was like, oh, I am so fucking like, fuck you. Oh my god, yes, I love that fucking scene. Like it not only just shows that the queen can communicate with her children, but it just shows that they have a conscience, and or like they know what's happening. They know, like, they have restraint because the queen is telling them. It just shows that they can actually, not, I'm not gonna say communicate because I already said communicate too many times, but I'm trying to refer to as like, they are conscience, or like they have cognitive thinking besides just trying to eat.
yeah. So that was a good scene. One scene I disliked, which Mark said, was the corporate scene with Weyland Yutani when they were going over what happened on the Nostromo. It just pissed me off because, like, as Mark mentioned, shit like that would happen if this was real, because the company is always going to put their money first. And only thing they're like, they pretty much told her, we don't give a fuck. We really don't give a fuck about you, and we don't give a fuck about anybody who died on that ship. You lost us like $50 million because you blew it up, even though it was an alien on there that would have killed you. Like, what are we doing here?
Not even that. The alien would have killed anyone who found the ship.
Exactly.
That's what's killing me. I'm like, if this alien, even if just one alien came back to Earth, you motherfuckers wouldn't be here to complain to her about blowing up the ship.
And then for Burke's bitch ass to come to her for help afterwards, like you knew she was gonna do it, but it was just the principle of it all, like, especially after y'all are essentially no help, and this motherfucker basically was telling her that she was gonna do the equivalent of like bagging groceries with the knowledge and titles that she had previously, because she didn't want to comply with y'all. Like, oh, there was really on some bullshit, petty shit, but I'm glad she did end up going, because she wouldn't have been able to. The rest of them, they probably would have killed, like, let Newt get killed or something. Like, if Ripley wasn't on the trip. So that was a scene that I liked. Also, the ending, we got the iconic line that I always knew about.
Get away from her, you bitch!
It made me think about Scream.
I love that line. That's because I've seen this one, and I've seen I've seen this one, and I've seen the first one. So I knew that line was coming. I didn't know where it was gonna land, but I was like, oh my god, yes, we got it. It's here.
Yeah,
and it was like the perfect spot too.
It really was. Immediately when I heard it, I thought of that scene in Scream 2 when they were in their film class. That's made me think about when I heard it. But
when the killer said it wrong, so yeah,
so yeah, that was good. And there was another scene that when Newt was, when they got separated in like the air ducts and vents, and Newt got in the water, and the shot of like the xenomorph coming behind her, that was crazy. Like, it was just a really good shot of how it looked. But yeah, at least off the top of my head, those are the ones that I immediately remembering, but there were a lot of good like scenes and sequences throughout this.
I think one of my favorite like set of kills. I think the initial kills when they first get to the planet, and
Yeah,
when the one soldier sets that little uh he sets the was it a face he
face
sets something
hugger.
on he sets something on fire, and then all of a sudden at like xenomorphs just start coming out of the woodwork killing everybody. And I'm like, oh my god, this is not what I expected. I didn't expect to see. I wasn't expecting to see more than one xenomorph because we only had that first one in the last movie. So now that we're seeing like several, and they're all just like popping out, going crazy,
Yeah,
that was good. But also because again, we only saw that first one, and since we've seen the xenomorphs at this point, we didn't know like if they were able to communicate or not. So then seeing that scene where the queen like signals to the other xenomorphs to like back off,
yeah.
don't attack. I was like, oh, okay, okay. They do have some type of communication. They do have some kind of language. And speaking of the queen, when she got her big ass in the elevator to go up,
Like, think about it. Just like this big ass bitch, just casually just walking in, and I was like, girl, bye. This bitch was just like, let me get in this elevator and eat these hoes.
some of those shots of her on the elevator were hilarious. They were hilarious. But going to kills, this kill wasn't really special, but I was so happy when Bert finally died. I
Oh
was
my
like,
god,
yes,
yes.
yes, you deserve that, you bitch.
We deserve to see that actually because they cut away. We
They
deserve
did.
to see that
So
in its
mad,
fullness.
so mad.
Burke
Private,
surprised me too. Not Burke, Bishop.
yes, I
Yeah,
wasn't
that was
prepared for that.
good. Yeah, because like obviously, like I saw the runtime, I was like, we still got some time left. But as soon as I looked at it, it got like swiped. I was like, oh shit! Like I wasn't expecting that the way that it happened.
So many acid kills.
Yeah, which I'm glad for. I'm glad they used that more.
The acid kills was a bit overused, but I do understand it's their way to hunt their prey. I can't do anything about that because like we can't say anything about that because a lot of animals use the same kind of tactic.
Yeah, that was good. That was inventive. Like not just like them getting like chomped on or like I hate the cutaways. I love them in the last movie because we were being suspenseful. They weren't really showing a xenomorph. They were waiting. They were holding back on showing a xenomorph, so they were cutting away from the kills, which I loved. But we know what the xenomorph looks like now, so you don't have to do the cutaways anymore. Show us the kills. Like
Was it just a rating thing?
it probably was, but they're also probably kind of trying to stay because with Halloween 2, for most of Halloween 1, Michael Myers was hidden in shadows. So for Halloween 2, it's like, okay, no, we've already seen him in action. So they would have all those have like you would see Michael Myers all the time, but then they would also occasionally pull back and do like the creepy shadow stuff again. But it's like that doesn't work anymore because we've already seen him. Like again, you're trying to match the style to a degree of the first one, but like that's something that you don't match. Just like go all the way in. We already seen it. You already showed us several xenomorphs already, so just show us killing people. Killing people.
Mm.
What's wrong with that? Um, but were there any kills or attacks or close calls that stood out for you?
Uh, yeah, not anymore that I can. And well, I guess close call was when fucking Burke's bitch ass set up Ripley and Newt in the med bay and basically tried to get them killed and like the face huggers to like attach to them. Like that was some bitch ass shit right there.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out like okay, we'll get to that in character part, but like, there, I feel like there's so much going on in this movie, and though I like how action filled it was and how it was just going and going and going, I could have used some more slow scenes to like really fill it out.
Mhm.
But I don't know, because like all those soldiers, all those privates die so fast. Like we're left with that last core group of like 5 people so fast once we land. And I don't know, it just I don't know. I just feel like the kills were noodled, and if it was because of like a rating thing, it sucked. It sucked a lot.
Mhm.
But let's move on to the characters. Let's start with I forgot who I had first. Let's start with Hudson. What do you think of Private Hudson?
Hudson was like, he was kind of annoying, but I don't know. I also liked this character as well, just because he like at the same time he was funny to me as well. Um, but he was the most real compared to the situation. Like, yes, they're Marine, they're like Space Marines, all that shit. But you mean to tell me you're bringing us to a fucking unknown territory with all these fucking aliens, and once we see him for the first time, and not expect me to go crazy? Nah, I actually agree with him. But even he was a bit annoying, but he was portrayed pretty well by Bill Paxton, and
Points
I,
were made, and I don't even like points were definitely made.
yeah, when he was like, I forget what scene it was. Uh, I remember they were like they were all talking on the ship about if they should like leave or not, and how long it was going to take for like help to get to them. And I think Ripley said it was like 17 days until they could get someone to them. And like Hudson was, he was like 17 days, and we're not going to make it 17 hours. And Ripley was like, "Well, look at Newt; she survived longer than the rest of us. Like before we even came here." He's like, "Well, put her in charge then." That shit, I don't know why that was so funny to me.
I remember that. You remember that scene, but that was valid. I'm like, well, you know, if she can beat this shit, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's
Yeah.
get out of here. Um, well, let's talk about Bishop, the android Bishop. Bishop surprised me. You know, I was expecting Bishop to be turn to be a bad guy, be a company guy that was going to lead Ripley to her doom and like be teamed up with fucking Burke. But I don't know, he came through in the end, and I was shocked and happily surprised. I was okay. You know, he pretty much sacrificed himself a few times. He helped them get to safety. He saved Newt before Newt got pulled away, and I was like, okay, thank you, good for for Bishop. What are your thoughts on Bishop?
Yeah, I thought Bishop was cool. Like I really didn't think he was gonna like end up like the other like synthetic that was on the Nostromo that Ripley was on. But obviously I understand why Ripley would have an issue with like an android or synthetic on board after her past experience with it. Even if it's like a new model and everything. Like when like people have bad experiences with stuff all the time. So obviously there's like going to be trauma related to that. And especially when I don't even, because they didn't know that if I recall, they didn't know that the android that was on the Nostromo was an android, right? Or did they? like in the
No, they
first
didn't.
movie.
They
Yeah,
they
they didn't.
didn't.
Yeah,
They
they
didn't.
didn't. So that like even added more to it that she like obviously wasn't like in the know on that for this mission, and but she did find out like very early on and was able to like keep her eye out just in case something went down like that. But I really didn't think it would be the same type of situation. Now I felt like there were points where they were kind of insinuating that, like when Bishop was studying the face hugger and some of the other stuff, and um, Ripley was asking, was he going to dispose of it? And he was like, no, Burke said we need to get this back. And I feel like that was probably giving her flashbacks to what happened on Nostromo and how, like, the android there, he was, like, so um, dead set on keeping, like, the face huggers and everything else. So, yeah, I thought Bishop was a good character, though, and like especially at the end came very clutch because we really could have lost Newt if he wasn't there when Ripley had to open the airlock to kill the Queen.
Yeah, Bishop was the goat. I love Bishop. He definitely was a surprise. He definitely came in, but he came in clutch when it was needed. So I'm glad for Newt. I mean, I'm glad for yeah, I'm glad for Newt because without Bishop, Newt would never survived. But let's move on to Newt, the random kid that I that was a choice because I feel like any other director like Newt would have died in the third act. Like you introduce a kid, you make the kids vulnerable. Like I feel like any other director, especially like a real true horror director, like that kid's chest would have been burst. It would have been a chest burster scene with that kid. And I'm right. If anyone of those fucking Friday the 13th, Freddy Krueger, fucking Texas Chainsaw people had their hands on this movie, that kid would have been chest bursting. And I don't think I would have minded. What are your thoughts on Newt?
He was a fine character. I really thought they were gonna have her be like mute the entire time throughout the movie when she wasn't like talking initially, and I thought she was just gonna like just follow along to whatever Ripley said to do. But she actually was like fairly like smart for a kid in the situation that she was in. Because they definitely could have had her like have to be rescued a lot. She really only had to be rescued like that one time by Ripley, and every other time she was like following instructions as intended and like not getting in the way and like trying to keep herself out of the way if she saw something happening. So I'm glad that they let her be
Made her
fairly smart.
competent?
Yeah, and like competent almost. So that was
Because
that was a
horror
good.
kids be dumb.
Yeah, yeah. So that was good, and I like that choice for like her character, and also like it's like child actors, they could be hit or miss. I thought she was pretty good.
What are your thoughts on Hicks?
I thought Hicks was a decent character. Uh, to be honest, I didn't think he was gonna last as long as he did. I really thought he was gonna get killed. Um, even though he was like out cold towards the end of the movie, I thought he was gonna get killed, but once it came time for like him to like step up and be like the leader, um, he was on Ripley's side and not trying to like he like basically like he was listening to what he had to say and not being like Burke who was just trying to like demean everything and worry about the money. He was only worried about getting the people out of there safe, making sure his crew was good, and that was it. Which I mean, all you can really ask for out of somebody who's like in the military or Marines, something like that. So I think he did his job like fairly good. He was a good leader when they needed someone to step up to the role, and for someone that Burke just called a grunt, he did a really good job.
I was surprised that Hicks made it to the end.
Yeah.
For some reason, I thought it was going to be Bishop, mostly because of Bill Paxton. But I'm guessing this is before Bill Paxton was Bill Paxton. So I was just kind of, I don't know, I was surprised that Hicks survived. But let's move on to our badass final girl, Ripley. What were your thoughts on Ripley?
Can somebody let my girl get a drink or something? Like, she need a bottle of wine, a fireplace, and no priorities. Like,
She needs a drink. She needs some sexy time. She needs
give her a whole carton of cigarettes because she be smoking. Let her give my girl a vape. Actually, give Ripley a
she
vape.
needs everything. Just give her everything because she been going through it.
I feel so bad. I be
But
mad as
not only
hell.
to not only do you serve your crew that you are close with, because they seem so close in that first movie. The crew that you're close with, all dead. But then to also find out that your fucking shuttle missed the systems and you've been in stasis for 57 years, everyone you know is dead. And not only that, the fucking company that is responsible for all this is putting you back in danger. Like, can she get a break? She has to have some PTO.
My girl, she needed a break. Like, I felt so like bad for her character. Like, just the events of where we got to. So you're in hypersleep, 57 years. You wake up. Your child is dead due to old age.
Mm-hmm.
You aren't being believed by the company that you worked for, and all of your old crew is gone.
See that part I think was the company being on BS. I feel like they 100% believed her about the alien, about the
Mm,
xenomorph. They just wanted the fucking xenomorph, so they was playing dumb and playing coy. And then,
true.
but still petty. Yeah, keep going.
So that situation, coupled with the fact that she has PTSD forever at this point after all of that, like that actually this brings me to a scene that I forgot to mention when she um like had a dream that she was getting like having the chest burster come out. That's a crazy dream. That was a good scene as well. But you got that whole thing, and not only that, you can't even just chill now and like live because these fuckers are pulling you right back into dealing with these things because you're the quote unquote only one that can be probably like a resource to them and tell them like what to do. But I mean, if it's like, did you believe him or did you believe her or not? Like, if you didn't believe her, why does she even need to be here? Because you guys said there's a colony there. You know that it ain't only been like a day or two since she came back. So like, pissing me off. But Ripley was the goat. She, I think what I like about her character is she is not stupid. Like, she does not make dumb decisions. And like, even if she makes like a decision and it may not be like the right thing to do in that moment, she's doing it for like a smart reason or to make sure that the other people who are like being affected can, get a chance to survive. Like the scene where they first got attacked and I forget the name of the guy who was in charge at that point in time. But when she took over the ATV and drove it into the room that the Colonel Marines were in, so that she could get them out. Like, there's stuff like that where nobody else is like taking initiative, and Ripley's like, okay, I'm just gonna put myself in charge because y'all not doing shit. Which, which I mean, that's what makes she's badass. Like, it makes her badass, and not only that, she's taking care of Newt throughout this whole thing and trying to navigate that while also trying to navigate the rest of these fuckers because nobody's really trying to. Nobody else is trying to like do anything to like push the gamut further and get themselves out of this situation. Everybody's panicking and shit, and it's like, I get it because I would be panicking too. But at a certain point, we also got to realize that if we want to get out of the situation, we got to listen to somebody. And Ripley, the only one who's putting ideas on the board.
I mean, Ripley was on go mode from the entire time. She was like, we got to do this. Like, I'm going because you making me go, but just know, like, we killing these bitches on site. It's on site, and I'm glad that she kept that. I'm glad that she was fighting all the way through. She was trying to protect people, even they didn't really believe her. I'm glad she was ready to beat Burke's ass
Yep.
because she definitely grabbed him up quick and was ready to fight him. But like then again, like I don't blame her because I don't know. I just felt so sorry for her. Like, why are they making her do this? Her entire crew died. Her family died. Her friends are dead. She was locked down for 57 years. Let her go home or go and retire. Like, I don't know. But what are your thoughts on Burke?
We ain't talk about him yet.
Burke? No, he didn't.
Oh,
I saved the bad people for last.
okay. Yeah. Fuck him. Like, he's a bitch the whole time. Like, even when he first popped up on the scene, like, he was giving me, like, the energy of, like, a slimy lawyer. Like, someone who's not really there to help you, but, they're trying to seem like they want to help you. Like, that's the energy he was giving me the whole time, and I hated him anytime he was on the screen. And, he was just working towards, like, the company's goal. And it's like, bro, okay, you're here too. You can die also, which he
that
did.
that was my fucking thing. Like, fuck the company's goal. People are dying. Like, we have to go.
Like, bro, exactly. It's like, it's not like he's like in some chamber where he can't like get killed by the xenomorphs. Like, bro, you're literally in this situation with the rest of us right now. If you care about these fuckers so much, we go dip and you stay here with them. Call the company and tell them to bring you a cab or something. Like, bro, like he was pissing me off so much. And then especially when he fucking trapped Ripley and Newt in the room in the med bay with the face hugger to try to and like left the gun on the outside so that they could try to you know get them infected and bring them on board um with the aliens so they could transport him. Like, that is some sneaky ass shit. Like, he is such a fucker for that. Oh my god. He was pissing me off. And once he died, I was so happy.
Of course, because he was. I hate characters like that. It's like you're in the same situation. You're in no better situation than we are. You're in this with us. Why are you acting dumb?
Pissed me right off.
Like, and that's why I'm so mad that we didn't get to see his death because I feel like that is the one kill we needed to see because we needed to see him get his comeuppance for being so stupid. But what are your thoughts on the Queen Xenomorph?
I wasn't expecting that. I really wasn't. Like, I didn't know if we were. I really thought the way that the ending would have happened is that Ripley just would have had to go through a whole bunch of the xenomorphs and like she was gonna like light all the fucking um like eggs or like the facehuggers on fire, which she kind of did. But I really wasn't expecting us to get like the queen. Um, I thought it was cool and I liked the design of it, and I thought the fight scene that we got at the end with Ripley and the Queen was really good. even though she used this, it's like kind of one of those things where um like Scream, for example, where we're like, oh, always got to shoot him in the head, is like that's kind of giving me the vibes of Ripley with using the fucking airlock on the aliens to get rid of them. Because I mean, well, the shit works, don't fix it, right?
Mm-hmm. I remember her being in this. I just didn't remember her being so bad, and her being so pissed that Ripley burnt her fucking kids that she detached and she hopped her ass on the fucking on the elevator. Like again, that whole scene took me out. Like the whole elevator scene, her riding up took me out. That whole final fight when she hooked and speared uh Bishop, I was like, oh my god, like what's happening right now? But I don't know. I enjoyed her, and she looked great. I think the use of the practical dummy was definitely helps.
Hmm.
But before you wrap it up, can you give the people the behind the scenes info and facts?
Yes, I can. The budget for Aliens was 18.5 million. That is not adding up for me.
Wait, hold up. I might
Oh
not
man.
have. I might have not changed that. Let me check. Okay. The budget for Aliens
No,
was.
that looks
Oh,
that's also
man.
Wikipedia. Oh
Yeah,
shit.
18.5 million, and then oh yeah, because
Damn.
they made a lot way more than that. Okay, yeah,
They
that's right.
did. Oh my god. That's crazy. What the fuck are we doing? We are not doing something right now. Oh, okay. Get back on topic. The budget for Aliens was 18.5 million and it brought in a box office between 131.1 through 183.3 million. Some interesting facts. Weaver's portrayal of the strong and resilient Ripley earned her critical acclaim and set a new standard for female action heroes. One of the most talked about urban legends surrounding the making of Aliens is the story of James Cameron pitched to with 20th Century Fox, where he wrote out his preferred title, but instead of having an S on the end, the cheeky director replaced the final letter with the $sign. Cameron confirmed this legendary story during a December 2021 interview with Cinema Blend. Basically, Cameron felt the movie needed to have a pluralist title. Basically, Cameron felt the movie needed to have a plural. Why the fuck can I say that? Basically, Cameron felt the need for one last time. Basically, Cameron felt the movie needed to have a pluralized title because there would be an army of aliens instead of just one, and he added the $sign at the end as his way of saying the movie would be a success. There was a lot of studio resistance to casting Weaver because Fox was afraid of the large fee the actors will require. But Weaver was eventually cast to play the lead and was reportedly paid roughly $1 million plus a percentage of the box office profits. To see if the alien queen puppet would work, Stan Winston and James Cameron built a contraption with two puppeteers and trash bags. Lastly, Michael Biehn was cast as Hicks after James Remar was arrested for heroin possession. Some critics' reactions: Aliens currently sits at a 98% on Rotten Tomatoes. Roger Ebert called The Last Hour painfully, unremittingly intense, and horror in action, leaving him emotionally drained and unhappy. Ebert believed it could not be defined as entertainment, despite his admiration of the filmmaking craft on display. um, the Hollywood Reporter the Hollywood Reporter stated that the unrelenting scenes of action and suspense worked for Aliens as they had in The Terminator. Tension was created by placing the characters in successive, increasingly difficult situations. Ebert was scared as hell. What the fuck?
Yeah, I don't know what the hell that was about.
No, I'm like, what movie was he watching?
Yeah. Uh, enough about them. What about us? Do we cash or pass? Aliens. For me, it's a cash. This is definitely an improvement over the first one. Not that the movie, the first one needed improvements, but it's just like they took what they did so well in that first one and they made it better. And that's all I can say. It's a cash.
For me, this is a definite cash, just due to the fact that, I was more engaged in this film. Like, the other one was good. Like, it was, but I thought this was good. This was better. This is a little bit better than the first one, in my opinion.
Twan?
Definitely a cash for me. I really enjoyed watching it. I actually ended up watching it twice this week. I watched it earlier in the week, for this podcast, and I was like, damn, that was good. I want to watch it again, actually. So went back and watched it again, and I think I will definitely be adding this to my DVD collection soon. And I just really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really good follow up to the first one. It added on what we were presented there. Sigourney Weaver was really good back in the role as Ripley. I enjoyed that, and I felt like the direction was good. The set pieces were good, and kind of mentioned in that Hollywood Reporter snippet in the behind the scenes, I felt that they did really good with the way they gave the character set pieces and like kind of building on top of those set pieces. So it didn't feel like more of the same, and like it got increasingly difficult and just more interesting to watch for us. So I definitely would cash.
Well, we are continuing our Alien retrospective review next week with Alien 3. We have another new director. We have David Fincher. I don't know if I've seen any David Fincher movies. I know I haven't seen this David Fincher movie, but I don't know if I've ever seen. I know that I've seen at least 2 of his music videos that he's done. No,
I'm pretty
I've
sure
seen.
you definitely might have seen movies by David Fincher.
Okay, off the top of my head, the things I know I've seen for sure from David Fincher. I've seen the Madonna Express Yourself video. I've seen the Madonna's Vogue video. I've seen Suit and Tie by Justin Timberlake and Jay-Z. So I know I've seen that direction from him. And now that I'm checking, okay, I've seen Seven. I've seen Panic Room. I've seen Fight Club. I've seen Gone Girl, and I've seen The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
Yeah.
And I've seen The Social Network, and I've seen.
So you see this whole fucking filmography, damn near.
I have, and if I go based off those things that I've seen, I have to say that oh God, I would, of those movies that I've named, I would probably cash like 3 of them and pass on the rest of them. I
would cash almost like all of these.
The Social Network, good direction. Fight Club, amazing direction. Gone Girl, good direction. I haven't seen The Curious Case of Benjamin Button since I saw
Zodiac is a fucking
it in theater.
fire.
I'm obsessed with Zodiac because I had that's a good one.
7.
I did like 7.
Panic Room is like Panic Room is a TNT. Do you watch that shit on like 5 p.m.?
I love Panic Room. I love Panic Room with little Kristen Stewart. The last time she was able to emote in a role.
Don't do her.
But yeah, so I took that back. I have seen David Fincher's work. I'm excited to see what he's done with this, because again, we're going into the 3rd movie with the 3rd director and the 3rd writing team. So far, it's been a new person every time. And from what I'm seeing, Alien 3 is actually his theatrical directorial debut. So I don't know. Hopefully it's good. Hopefully it's a cash. If I go based off what I know going into this movie, we just have to wait and see. But until then, good night.